What's going on, guys? Wanted to do a market recap. We're going to talk about the overall market today, how it traded, and then also go into SoFi. But let's start with SoFi because I know that's probably why you clicked on the video. So obviously SoFi gapped down on the offering news. We talked about that yesterday. And the previous videos, I did say that I don't believe SoFi would be included in the S&P 500. The flow would have shown a lot more bullish price action and whales loading up because usually they know ahead of time. But we didn't see that. We saw more puts rolling in, kind of breaking down on the weekly chart that we've been talking about. And then obviously that offering happened and then no inclusion today. So SoFi is short-term bearish, but it could present a really good opportunity for the long term coming up here. But let's talk about the inclusion. So it was Carvana, Fix, and CRH, sorry. I'm not too familiar with those other than Carvana. Kind of random in my opinion, but whatever works for the S&P 500. There's a method to their madness, I'm not sure. But this tweet right here really caught my attention, and I thought it was really cool. So, we've talked about how Hood, PLTR, and SoFi all had the same chart. I've thrown it in my videos before. TrendSpider always posts it. But they've had the same kind of cycle. So, all of these had massive drawdowns, long consolidations, fundamentals improving, retail selling, institutions buying, and then, he's basically like, these weren't $6 because they're bad. It was because the sentiment was dead, and now they're executing, scaling, and is SoFi next? Very similar charts. SoFi could have a Hood and PLTR year next year if they land that S&P 500 inclusion, keep posting good earnings, and showing growth. Their management team is great, so I assume some good things are going to come next year with that offering money. But now getting into the chart, the last few days I have talked about how we were breaking below this trend line. We did kind of reclaim it, reject 30, and then been selling off. So short-term bearish on SoFi. The flow also is very mixed. You saw some calls come in today, so people were buying this dip a little bit. But as far as this month's time frame, it's very mixed. Actually, pretty much equal. So I do believe SoFi will trend lower just because I think the overall market should come down a little bit over the next couple of weeks. And we'll see how low SoFi can go. But as far as my chart goes, I see it definitely testing these lows again. And then maybe even if the overall market is dying off, it could come down even more. And that is where I would love to buy SoFi calls and more shares long term. I did post this in the Discord as well, just basically saying like these lower 20s would be a gift for SoFi. And then that could be a long back to 35 plus next year. If, SoFi executes like we just talked about, it could be a really good opportunity. So you'd get people to panic sell, get out of their position. Meanwhile, the institutions would be loading up likely down here while people are panicking, and then they send it next year. So that's what I have as far as SoFi goes right now. And I know we talk short term for SoFi just to give daily updates, but definitely bullish long term. However, I do think this gap is going to be filled pretty soon here down at 25.46. So you could see a pop to fill this gap and then sell off, or vice versa. But just keep in mind that these gaps do love to be filled. However, for SoFi, I am selling, or I did sell some shares to lock in profits, mainly because my average cost was not that amazing. I think it was $26.50 in my trading account. So I locked in profits, and I'm just going to look to buy lower. But that doesn't mean I'm not long on SoFi still. I have other accounts that I don't touch, and SoFi is still chilling in those. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Definitely looking to load up calls and shares. And then to wrap things up, just wanted to go over the overall market. So obviously we pumped today. I did post the flow in the Discord. So make sure you join that. I do post free stuff in there as well. But we pumped, kind of sold off, and then chopped the rest of the day. In the members chat, I did post some really aggressive flow and alerted them. So I was able to make, a quick 180. And then this dude Show actually did really well. He made 160, 270, and 75 off that flow. So if you're interested in joining the Patreon, feel free to check that out. He definitely already made his money back. So yeah, overall solid day in the market. We'll see what next week holds. I got to go over some charts and the flow and just kind of see where we're at. But I am anticipating a bit of a pullback, and I really hope we get a pullback, because the higher we trend, the risk reward isn't there to go long. So that's what I have. Please like and subscribe, and have a good one.